You're listening to the Cat Breeder Sensei Says podcast. This is your show host, April Catito, and Catito means kitten in another language. This podcast does support the reputable breeding of pedigree cats and the breeders who stand behind this concept. We stand for zero negativity, zero bashing of other breeders, and zero looking down the nose at other people. You can find us online at catbreedersensei.com, where we have an entire course for brand new breeders and even semi-experienced breeders, if you will. Our website also has podcast, blog post, free goodies, resources, and products and services for our fellow pedigree cat breeders. Things like Cattery logo design, website design, which we're going to talk about today, and merch for breeders and your kitten buyers. So check us out online, catbreedersensei.com. Okay, in this episode, we are going to talk about how social media marketing can kill your cattery. What do you say? Yeah, that's right. The most common method of marketing used by pedigree cat breeders and catteries in today's society is social media. We're talking about Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Should you have a presence on social media? Absolutely. Should you rely on social media as your primary source of marketing? Absolutely not. And let's discuss why. First, the pros to social media. Well, it's easy, right? You can install the app onto your mobile phone or your tablet, or even log in through your laptop or desktop computer and just start posting. And it's kind of easy to get followers, comments, shares, likes, etc. on social media. So the easy factor definitely is going in favor of social media for sure. Also, social media is free. You can post away, engage. It's all, never cost any money. Now, there is, of course, an option to pay for advertising or marketing your page on Facebook and Instagram. But not a lot of people use it or know how to use it, so it's not something that's utilized quite often through catteries, but it is an option. Also, there's a very large audience of people on social media, and the algorithms for these platforms, they know exactly how to target the right people for you. So, for example, if you are a Maine Coon cat breeder and your page or your photos or your comments or the groups that you like are Maine Coons, then anything that you post is going to be pushed to people who are like you or who like the same things as you. So your comments and your social media posts are going to show up as recommendations in people's feeds that like your kind of cat. So, the audience is there. It's kind of automatic. The more you post as well, the more followers you're going to get and the more engagement you're going to get. That's how all of these platforms work. Now, let's talk about the cons. Now, when you're weighing the factors, you're weighing the pros and cons and trying to make a decision on things. That's what I do, at least. You have to look at which one outweighs the other. And in the case of social media, the cons definitely outweigh the pros in this case, and here's why. Number one, you don't own the platform. And that's probably the biggest risk factor of anything. When you post your videos, your photographs, your text, anything on social media platforms, they now own it. So anytime that they decide they don't like what you're posting, guess what? They can take your page down or your group or your profile, and there goes all of your content forever. You can't get it back. So that probably to me is the number one con of using social media is you don't own your content anymore. You are at the mercy of these social media platforms. And by the way, there are rules in their terms and guidelines that specifically say the sale of animals is prohibited. So you have to be very careful about the things that you say in your post. Now, do people do it anyway? Yes, they do. And you'll also see people talking about their groups and their pages getting taken down, deleted by Facebook. They probably were in violation of the community guidelines when it comes to the sale of animals. So you can't say available, you can't say for sale. Just anything that insinuates that you are selling kittens on these social media platforms, no, you can't do that. Second, you don't control the platform. So, yes, while they do have a good algorithm in place and they do show your content to people who are most likely to like it or engage with it because that's what they want people to stay on their platform for longer, you still can't control where it goes, who sees it, and ultimately what happens to it. Number 3, the amount of spammers and scammers on these social media platforms is just out of control right now. It, started kind of lightly about a couple of years ago. They started popping up, and now they are rampant. There are so many spammers and scammers especially on Facebook. They create these new pages all the time, and they post in groups, and their ultimate goal is to attract buyers of pedigree kittens, and they offer them a really cheap price for a kitten, and then they start, a conversation through Messenger, and they're real pushy, and they try to get the buyers to send them money. So if the buyers aren't familiar with this type of scam, then they get scammed out of money. Every single day I see more people talking about getting scammed out of money, and I see the scammers myself. I actually have someone that has duplicated my Facebook profile and is acting like me and is trying to scam people out of money. They go as far as to send people to my website and say, this is my website. And it's really crazy. So, that part of social media is really nasty and ugly, and I just don't like it. They also will come to your Facebook page, and when they see people commenting on photos of your kittens or your cats, and people are, complimenting your cats, the poachers will come along and say, hey, this is a really reputable person if you want a kitten, you're looking for a kitten, and it looks like somebody is recommending them, but they're not. They're the scammers. So that is a really negative aspect of social media, in my opinion. You can't report them like Facebook, and they just don't care. They say they're not violating community guidelines because it's kind of hard to track them down. Another con to the social media platforms, it's hard to monitor comments. So you have to really be constantly checking your notifications to see if people are commenting or engaging with your content, and that's really what gives you the boost on social media is engagement. So if you don't have time to constantly monitor what happens on social media and be able to engage with your audience nonstop throughout the day, then social media may not work for you. It may not be the best platform. And a lot of people don't understand how social media platforms work. They're all about engagement. Their goal is to keep you on the platform for as long as possible. So they want conversations happening. They want likes and loves and sad faces and hearts and cares and anger. And they want everything because, that emotion is what keeps people there, and it keeps them coming back for more. So, you as the page owner or the Cattery owner should be engaging with your audience. That's to get the best use out of your platform. So if you're unable to do that, social media might not work for you to the fullest potential. So a good solution to this is to have your very own website for your Cattery. Your website really should be your main location of where you're sending anybody who's interested in your kittens or anybody who is looking for a kitten. They should be able to find you online. Like, that's where people start their search, usually is on Google. So now that don't automatically go hand in hand. Just because you have a website doesn't mean you're going to get found on Google. Those are two different things. You're talking about presence and search results and, SEO and all kinds of different things. But having a website is a good start. Now, let's talk about the pros and cons to having and owning your own website for your cattery. Let's start with the pros. You own this asset. So I'm in the real estate business also, and I look at owning domain names and websites as real estate on the internet. And owning that asset, adds value. It's a valuable thing to have a website and have content there for people to find you and get information. That's really what your website should be used for, is to deliver as much information as you humanly can in one spot, and to keep them on your website as long as possible. That should also be your goal, to keep clicking around, keep looking for information, engaging with you, commenting if possible, and then ultimately reaching out to you and taking the next step for them to obtain one of your kittens. You control the asset when you own your website. So you never will have anybody who doesn't like your website so much that they're going to tear it down and throw it in the garbage. No, you control that asset. You're in control of that asset forever, and nobody has any say of what you put on that website, what you say, what you do. You control that, and that's really the beautiful thing about owning your own website. You can also control your audience. So by creating a website with information that's directed primarily towards people who are looking for your specific breed of cat, you're controlling who actually lands on your page. So the social media platforms, they could get it wrong sometimes. They could send, display your page to the wrong people. Maybe somebody doesn't like it. That's when you get reported, right? Maybe you end up in front of a pet rescue advocate and you really trigger them by selling kittens, and they decide to report you for selling animals on Facebook. That's never going to happen with your website. If someone lands on your website and they end up there, it's because they have chosen to do so through a Google search engine, or you've posted your website or given your domain name to someone and they have decided to actually visit the website. Even if they don't like it, they can't do anything to remove that content. So by controlling the audience, that is very important for long-term stability and information delivery of your content. You control the look and feel of your website, where social media, they control the look and feel of it. So if you want a professional look, you can certainly do that. You can deliver that in that specific way. If you want it fun and friendly, if you want it playful, if you want lots of videos, however you want your website to look, then you absolutely have control of that. And you also control the messaging. So there is no rules against saying, hey, I have kittens for sale. They're on this page. Here's how much they are. Contact me if you're interested. You get to control every single thing that is said on your website. Now, some of the cons or the downfalls of having a website is development. So a lot of people aren't real tech savvy and they don't know how to build a website. That's where you can rely on Cat Breeder Sensei. We actually do website development. We just started offering that. I personally have been building websites for about 15 years through a WordPress platform, and just decided that enough of these super ugly, hideous Cattery websites. I was going to, help the community by redesigning or actually building websites that were brought up to speed, with what a website should look like in today's world. So, lots of blinking GIFs and, just outdated stuff is what I see. Bad formatting, and I see some really, really bad websites for catteries. So that's website development, and, we can actually help with that. If you are looking for someone to build a website for you, just go to catbreedersensei.com, go to products and services, and you'll see our Cattery website design services on that page, and you can even check out some of the websites that we have already completed for catteries. Okay, another struggle or challenge, I should say, is getting ranked in search engines. So the good news is, through my research, I have found that Cattery websites do not do a very good job with getting ranked in search engines. Yes, they may look fantastic, they may look fabulous, but if you're not taking the time to do search engine optimization, which is a totally different thing and it's an ongoing process that you constantly have to be working on, then you're not going to show up for any keyword search that anybody puts in. So that's one of the cons, is that it does take regular maintenance. You have to be working on your website all the time and doing things to stay in front of people. As soon as your content gets old and stale and you're not updating your website and not providing value to your audience, then Google will know that immediately and you'll start falling down in the ranks. You have to maintain your website. So updating it with photos, up-to-date information. If you have litters coming up, that should be updated on your website. It just really needs to be a high level of interaction with your website and keeping it maintained with current information. If someone visits your website and it has old, outdated information, they leave, they're never coming back, especially if you have like, hey, I've got litters coming in 2021 and it's 2022. Like, no, that's, if you can't maintain the website yourself, then hire someone to do it for you. There is a cost associated with owning and having your own website. One is the domain name. That's your URL or your website name, like, catbreedersensei.com or ilovecats.com or whatever it is. You have to pay for that domain name. Costs you about $13 per year to have and own that name. Some website hosts will give you discounts for paying for multiple years in advance when you first buy it. So that's a cost. It's kind of nominal, to think, $1 a month to own your domain name. And then you have website hosting. That's a company that actually has servers where all of your files are stored on and actually serve those up to the internet when someone calls your domain name up. So you have to pay for that too, usually about $10 a month. So I always say cheap is never good and good is never cheap. That also applies to free versus paid, like, where your content actually lives. So if you are trying to learn how to build your own website and you want to do this yourself, WordPress is the number one used platform in the world for building websites. That's what I use. And there's also, companies that host websites like GoDaddy and Wix. They provide website builders, but I'm not in love with them because you don't really have control. And I'm doing SEO optimization for a client right now and on Wix, and I found that, they want you to pay to unlock all of these, cool features, where WordPress actually has a plugin for everything. Anything you want your website to do, you can find a plugin to do it. So, pros and cons to using these website building platforms. You kind of get stuck paying for hosting if you're using their website building software. Like if you start out with GoDaddy and you build this website all using their website builder, well, it's kind of hard to leave. Like if for some reason you don't like the website host, or you don't like their customer service, or you don't like the website anymore, or they start charging for things that they didn't in the past, it's really hard to take that website that was built on their platform and move it to another host. Where with WordPress, it's super easy to just, download the files and move them over to a new host if you decide that you want to move it. Nothing changes in the design. So WordPress, if you want to build your own, you can go check that out and learn. There is a learning curve on building a website, but if you have time, you can certainly learn how to do it yourself. My ladies and gents cat friends, I hope that today's episode gave you some insight on why owning your own website is really important, and how social media should only be a supplemental platform that is used to help in the awareness and the marketing of your cattery. If you liked this episode, do us a huge favor and leave us a review on the platform that you listen to our podcast on, and share this with your friends. We appreciate you so much. I hope you guys are making good choices out there, and I will see you later. Bye.